Instagram,
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 Facebook,
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 Snapchat,
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 Line,
Line,
Messenger.
In this day and age, social media is very prevalent in our lives. There are so many options for us to choose from, whether it be apps like Instagram, Facebook, and more, apps simply for communicating and messaging, or apps for taking and sharing pictures. We are now more capable than ever to connect with others, regardless of distance and time. But are we aware of the possible effects of using social media? Is social media all bad or all good? Is it a mixture of both? Can it be an extremely useful and important tool without having any bad consequences? Most importantly, are teenagers aware of possible dangers, and do parents know how to help? In this documentary, I set out on a journey to find out the effects of social media on teenagers' psychological development and identities. Before we begin delving into the deeper side of things, we have to start by first understanding what social media really is and its history. According to the Oxford Dictionary, social media is websites and applications that enable users to create and share content or to participate in social networking. By 1980 and 1990, social media started forming into what it is known as today and became much more prominent with the creation of a much more sophisticated computer for home use. Arguably, the first social media site is a website called 6 Degrees, named after the theory that states no person is separated by more than 6 degrees from another. The website allowed users to create profiles and friend other users. By the mid-1990s, the internet was in full bloom. Yahoo had just started running and Amazon had just started selling books. In the early 2000s, sites like MySpace gained prominence. Some sites like Flickr facilitated photo sharing, while YouTube created an entirely new way for people to share videos across great distances. By 2006, Facebook and Twitter were the most prominent sites, and now the number of available sites has increased even more. In this documentary, a teenager is defined according to the Oxford Dictionary as a person aged between 13 and 19 years. It's hard to imagine teenagers without their phones. It seems as if they're constantly scrolling through social media, liking content, and interacting with other people. But what does a typical day of social media look like for teenagers? All those facts that just showed up on the screen are from a survey I conducted on 50 teenagers. But what do those results show us? First, let's start with what social media apps people use. The most used app according to this survey is Instagram with 42 users, a whopping 82%, followed closely by Snapchat with 39 users. Facebook falls in fourth place with 21 users, and Twitter falls even more behind with only 10 users. This shows that once dominant social media sites like MySpace have lost out to newer, more modern apps like Instagram and Snapchat. Even apps like Facebook and Twitter are slowly declining in users. In an article by the Guardian newspaper, it is predicted that this year, 3 million under 25s from the UK and US alone will leave Facebook. Facebook and Twitter, just like MySpace, are demonstrating an inherent truth about the internet: impermanence. Today's thing quickly becomes yesterday's news. In fact, did you know? Snapchat is slowly becoming the winner in social media. 44% of its users are young adults compared to Facebook's mere 20%. So what is fueling this current frenzy with social media? Smartphones. In my survey, 48 people use smartphones to access social media, showing an increasing disregard for laptops and tablets. According to the PewInternet.org's latest research on teenage social media use conducted in 2015, it states that nearly 3/4 of teens have access to smartphones. These phones have been a major factor to teenagers' social media use, with 91% going online from mobile devices at least occasionally, and from this 91%, 94% go online daily. This leads us to how much time do teenagers invest in social media daily? According to my survey, most people spend 1 to 2 hours, with 19 people doing so. This is followed by 13 people using it for 3 to 4 hours and 9 people using it for 5 to 6 hours. According to the same research by PewInternet.org, 92% of teens go online daily, 24% go online constantly, only 6% go online weekly, and 2% go online even less often. It's shocking to think that us teenagers are using so much social media a day when most of us are not even able to sit down for that long and concentrate on tasks like homework without procrastinating. Psychologically, though, what is social media doing to our brains that make it so irresistible? A 2015 UCLA research paper shows that using social media engages the dorsal medial prefrontal cortex of the brain, which makes judgments on whether an activity is so important that it becomes non-optional. By using social media and engaging the dorsal medial frontal cortex, this makes social media feel like a need for us, something vital that cannot be ignored. This puts teenagers at risk, since the adolescent brain is still developing and areas that are misused could cause unhealthy growth in our brains. Social media causes surges in dopamine, the pleasure chemical, and creates a sense of want, which makes social media even more irresistible. Using social media has also been proven to exaggerate activity in the nucleus accumbens area, which is associated with reward. Increased activity in this area is a reason why the need for social approval is highly valued. Social media provides this constant stream of peer recognition and approval and can be a powerful attraction for continued social media use. In fact, in a study by Psychological Science, seeing likes on social media activates the same brain circuits as when we eat chocolate or win money. When we are adolescents, we are much more easily influenced since our brain is still developing. We are much more likely to like photos if they already have a lot of likes. In the study by Psychological Science, the same photo was shown to 2 different groups of teenagers, one with a lot of likes and one with just a few. These teenagers who saw the photo with more likes were much more likely to like that photo too. Teenagers react differently to information when they believe it has been approved by other peers, even if they do not personally know these peers. Mirella D'Apreto, professor of psychiatry and behavioral sciences at UCLA and senior author of this research, said, "The teenagers' willingness to conform manifested itself both at the brain level and in what they chose to like. This constant need for self-validation is changing our identities as we change ourselves into what others want us to be like or what we see on social media. All these psychological changes to our brain can cause potentially negative and potentially positive effects on a teenager's development and identity. So what are they? Let's start with the potential negative impacts. According to an RSPH-YHM or Royal Society for Public Health and Young Health Movement research paper, 1 in 6 teenagers will experience an anxiety disorder at some point in their lives, and anxiety and depression in teenagers have increased by 70% over the last 25 years. Those who spend more than 2 hours per day on social media are more likely to report higher depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts. In fact, social media is designed to be like a highlight reel of a sports show, where only the best moments in a person's life is presented, and when others see their highlight reels, they can promote a compare and despair attitude. Teenagers may see heavily photoshopped or staged photos and compare them to their own mundane lives, resulting in increasing feelings of inadequacy towards themselves and who they are as a person. Poor mental health can affect sleep, and poor sleep can affect mental health. Sleep is absolutely crucial for teens, and they need at least 9 hours per day. However, in my survey, the majority, 21 out of 50 teenagers, only sleep for 7 to 8 hours per day. Poor sleep is linked to a wide range of both physical and mental health conditions. Studies have also shown that using electronics at night is even worse than in the day, since the LED lights interfere and block natural processes in the brain that can trigger sleep. 1 in 5 teenagers who wake up at night to check social media are reported to be 3 times more likely to feel constantly tired than those who do not. A 2016 University of Glasgow study found that incoming alerts also have potential to disturb sleep, especially since 86% of teenagers sleep with their phone in the bedroom, often under pillows or in their hands. Body image is also an issue for many teenagers, particularly females, with 9 in 10 girls stating they are unhappy with their bodies. However, information on the extent of social media on body image is scarce, and more research needs to be done, especially considering the harmful implications they can have on young girls and boys wanting to change their identity because of something unrealistic they saw online. With the rise of social media, also comes the rise of a new digital language and the concept of FOMO, or fear of missing out. It is characterized by the need to be constantly online and constantly connected with what other people are doing. Incoming alerts from phones can contribute to pressure to be available constantly. Often, teenagers and young adults experience anxiety from FOMO and feel guilty when they do not respond immediately. But what happens when your everyday social experience is terrifying? Which leads us to cyberbullying and online harassment. 7 in 10 teenagers have experienced online bullying. When bullying moves itself beyond face-to-face interaction and manifests itself online, this means anyone is open to harassment at any time, any distance. This is especially worrying as bullying has been statistically proven to result in issues including mental health, identity problems, and social relationships. And while there are several potential negative impacts of social media, we mustn't be tempted to jump on the bandwagon and villainize social media. Many researchers have indeed found positive impacts of social media. Social media may potentially cause anxiety and other mental health problems, but social media can also serve as access to other people's health experiences, expert health information, and emotional support from others. Social media offers teenagers to read, watch, listen to, and understand the health experiences of others. Conversations on social media can provide teenagers with essential interactions to overcome difficult times they are going through. There is a strong sense of community, and teenagers can surround themselves with like-minded people and share their thoughts, opinions, and concerns. Groups considered to be the minority in the world, such as LGBTQ+ or ethnic minorities, can now connect with other people with the same passion and thoughts as them. Social media is also a form of self-expression and self-identity, which are very important aspects of a teenager's psychological development. Social media allows teenagers to express themselves and explore who they are as a person. Teenagers can personalize their profiles and feeds with photos, videos, and words that express who they are and how they identify with the world around them. However, it is also important to remember that expressing themselves online may lead to negative feedback, and it is therefore essential that teenagers are taught how to use social media safely and properly. Social media also allows people to make, maintain, and build relationships. They can stay connected with important people in their life, those who they do not see regularly, and make new friendships. Knowing these possible potential effects, I decided to further deepen my understanding by traveling across Taipei and interviewing other teenagers. Since 2 people were unavailable for one-on-one interviews, they sent me their answers to the questions I asked instead. What social media apps do you have?
I have Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Line, and Messenger.
Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat.
I have currently on my phone Facebook, Messenger, and Snapchat.
Instagram, Facebook, Messenger, Line, Snapchat, WeChat. Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Cool.
And why do you have so many social media sites?
Because all my friends uses different ones, so in order to contact them, I have to use whatever they use.
First of all, I don't consider 3 social media apps as many, but primarily I use social media for communication and entertainment.
To stay in contact with my friends and to waste time on. I want to have friends and talk to them. Having followers and people liking my photos makes me feel better about myself, and I enjoy the attention I get. Could you please explain to me your social media usage?
Oh, I'm probably on my phone like at least 4 hours a day.
Okay.
For Instagram, for example, I just look at other people's feed. I don't really do much on Instagram. Do I have to show you?
Sure. You just show me your phone.
Okay, cool. Like, I just scroll down and I look at these stuff. I don't know what I look at. I look at these stuff, and then for Messenger and Line, I just like text my friends. And, like, my SAT teacher uses it to send homework, so well, congratulations. And for Snapchat, well, there's only one thing you can do with Snapchat: streaks.
Yeah.
Snapchat's become so ugly. And Facebook, I don't know why I do it. I don't know, procrastinate with this.
Okay.
Cool.
Communication. Yep.
I use Messenger to communicate and chat with my friends. And for my Facebook, I just look at it when I'm bored. And Snapchat, you all know what Snapchat does, so no need for explanation.
I usually check all the messages in the morning and reply to them. Then I usually send streaks on Snapchat. And after that, I check IG posts and stories. I use social media a lot, especially when there's a lot of homework. It becomes a great procrastination tool that gives me some time off. you know all of your friends on social
Hell
media?
no. I don't know. I don't know half of them.
So like, have you ever like accepted like a friend request?
Yeah, because as long as they don't bother me, I'm fine with it.
Oh, but like, aren't you afraid of like privacy? Like,
I don't have any privacy.
Oh.
I don't have anything. So yeah, I don't have credit card information or
Okay.
whatnot. So I don't care.
I know all my friends on the social media sites, and I have never accepted any friend request from anyone who I'm not sure who they are.
Well, no. Yes, I have, and I regret it.
Yes, I know most of them personally. Yes, I have. No, of course not. I have at least 100 Instagram followers that I don't know, but that's okay because it helps me look better. I have 1,000 plus friends on Facebook, but of course, I haven't talked to 700 of them in the past 4 years of my life. But it's great to have larger numbers. Yes, sometimes I accept girls. So, what is social media to you?
Life.
To me, social media contains lots of daily information and new ideas. So it's a place that contains mass amount of information, so people could look at it.
It's a way to instantly talk with my friends and stay in contact with the ones I can't see every day. It's a way to see what the world is up to and to show the world what I'm up to. Social media is where I get to boost my virtual presence and where I can make myself look better, smarter, and kinder than in real life. What do you think about social media? Like, do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing? Or both?
Oh. It's the reason why I'm not getting the best grades.
Okay.
And but it's the reason why I'm not bored all the time. So I guess for grade wise it's probably a bad thing. But if you just want to kill time, then of course it's a good thing. It's kind of obvious.
Well, I think social medias are great because they contain mass amount of information. So you can learn from other people's new ideas, or like get to know the world, because it also contains news.
It's a double-edged blade. It's nice to chat with friends, but it can be addicting and bring down your self-esteem, so everything in moderation, I guess. It's good, but I think you can tell that it's ruining my life a bit. I care about likes and followers a lot sometimes. So yeah, that sucks. Do you consider your identity online to be different, or the same as your identity in real life?
Because I usually just talk with my friends, I don't think there's an identity issue because they know who I am and what I usually say. So I don't usually post stuff on like Facebook or tell them my deepest feelings. So I don't think there's any identity issues with me.
So I don't consider my identity online as the identity in real life, because the Facebook account I use does not contain all the information you need about me. So it doesn't, it's not the same as my real life identity. And I don't record everything in my real life in my Facebook account. So I don't consider the identity online as my identity in real life.
Yeah, I text the way I talk, and I don't exactly try and hide my identity. Generally, I'm quite the same. I mean, I never Photoshop myself, but I also talk differently in real life. There's quite a bit you can't write online. Otherwise, I'm myself. Always be yourself. From these interviews, we can see some overlapping and some clear distinctions between these different answers. Several confess to only having certain social media apps because different friends use different sites, and in order to communicate with them all, they need to download all these different apps. Some thought social media was supposedly ruining their lives, but admit that at the same time, it is absolutely crucial and vital. These answers are similar to the answers I got in my survey to the question, how would you define social media, and statement, social media is important. Looking through the answers to the first question, many define social media in a positive tone, saying it is the best invention ever, helps us to have an easier life, and is used to communicate with friends and family. Others, however, acknowledge that, while potentially dangerous if used wrongly, its importance in our lives is irreplaceable. And regardless of their definitions, 21 out of 50 people agreed that social media is important, and no one surveyed disagreed. Already, teenagers have distinct views on social media, but cannot argue on the fact that it is important in our daily lives. While interviewing these teenagers, however, I came to a realization. All these potential effects, they're not caused by social media at all. They're the result of people. When we talk about this dark side of social media, what we really should mean is this dark side of people. You wouldn't blame a movie studio for the bad actions of the actors in their films, just like you shouldn't blame apps like Facebook for making people post hateful comments. Instead, we should blame this dark side of people. This dark side that makes others feel insecure and jealous of other people. In fact, the concept of social media is not relatively new at all. People have always shared their stories and communicated with the others, and now we have the help of technology to do so with social media. Except now, we have less privacy and are more susceptible to degrading comments. So, instead of completely abstaining from using social media to avoid this dark side of people, teenagers should learn how to use social media safely so that they can have the best possible experience online. Perhaps it can be argued that it is no longer an option to not have social media, especially as we consider the amount of people that use it now. To help teenagers and even young adults, institutions like the Child Mind Institute and social media experts like Bailey Parnell suggest we need preventative strategies and coping strategies. So, what are some steps that we can take to ensure safe use of social media? First, we have to recognize the problem and raise awareness. By watching this video, you have completed this first step. The power of suggestion is so strong that when one person talks about a problem, it is passed around and eventually the problem is discussed everywhere. Awareness is especially critical for this situation, so that users of social media at least know the possible effects of using it and how they can prevent possible negative effects if and when they happen. The next step is to control your social media usage. Ask yourself if you are happy after using social media. Did seeing all those likes make you feel satisfied? Do you feel more fulfilled after scrolling through Facebook? And it's okay if you feel worse after using social media. And this leads us to the next step. You should create a better online experience for yourself. Purge yourself of toxic friends, or stop following celebrities and brands if they make you feel self-conscious and make you self-doubt. You can still follow who you want, but remind yourself, is following this account necessary? And will this account be damaging to my identity? Lastly, model good behavior online. We're taught to be nice to others from a young age, to respect others and not to bully. We're taught to treat others how they deserve to be treated, to not undermine someone else's effort, and to not rejoice in their downfalls. So why should this be any different online? Social media is a tool that should be used for good. Parents can help too. According to the Child Mind Institute, they can curtail their own usage first and set a good example. Teenagers are easily influenced and affected by those around them, and if they have good role models to look up to, they'll start picking up good habits. Parents can help their children build up healthy self-esteem by making sure their experience is positive. So, is social media really affecting teenagers' psychological development and identities? It doesn't have to. If teenagers are going to be spending several hours online per day, it should be an experience full of inspiration, motivation, and fun. It should be full of laughs. We should do everything in our power to make social media a safe haven, a place for people to express themselves freely and connect with people without fear of being harassed and without fear of these potential negative effects.